Hello, everybody. Welcome to our 5th episode of the Book Brothers podcast. I'm Michael Zubal.
I'm Tom Zubal.
And we are here at Zubal Books on the beautiful west side of Cleveland, Ohio, on the shores of Lake Erie.
It's been a while since we did a podcast, approximately, I don't know, I think the last one was in 2018. We've been very busy.
We have. We've been buying and selling books on a daily basis, if not hourly, and having fun while we're doing it.
Absolutely, and that's what we're here to do, is tell you about all the fun buying and selling books in the year 2020.
Yeah, our first adventure is it began as a book story, then it wasn't a book story, then it became a book story again, luckily enough. There's violence involved, there's some good food and some good drink involved, and there's a little bit of travel. Last August, I was approached by a professor in the San Francisco Bay Area who had 2,000 high-level physics and math books, and he asked if I could come out and buy the books from him and move them out of his storage facility. I made travel reservations, plane, a hotel. I rented a cargo van, and I told my beloved Diana that she was going to join me on this trip, do the work with me for a couple days, and then we were going to take a couple days off and chill out by the ocean in Bodega Bay. That was in mid-August. So I got this all lined up, and on August 29th, we're going to head out. Well, on August 27th, my guy calls me up, and he has been faced with emergency surgery, so he has to cancel on me. Now, I had no other business planned. Had this all set up.
Must have been a nice collection if you were just going out there for that collection.
It was a very big collection. I had seen it a year ago, and he claimed he was at the ready. Well, he didn't really have any support locally to have me take care of the job, so it was canceled. I was not happy about it. I told Diana, I said, well, baby, it's going to be a vacation 100%. So I cancel what I can cancel, and we get on a plane and fly out to San Francisco, check into our hotel, and begin enjoying ourselves, going to our favorite places like Swan Oyster Bar and the Ferry Building and that sort of thing. Well, the first morning I wake up, and Tom here has forwarded an email to me, and I'm having my coffee, and the email says it's from a woman in the East Bay, and she has a house load of books that she needs to sell. So I turn to Diana. I say, hey, the business trip's back on. Way to go. We high five. I call a lady up, a very nice lady, and she says, well, can you come out at 4 o'clock this afternoon? To which I say, I'll do whatever you like, ma'am. And we set the appointment, and Diana and I have the day to deal with. What are we going to do for the rest of the day? Well, Diana speaks up and says, there's a Andy Warhol exhibit right down the street at MoMA, San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, 5 blocks from our hotel. So I say, great, let's make the appointment for that. We'll go see Andy and his soup cans and his Marilyn Monroe and his Mao Zedong pieces, and we'll get lunch, and then we'll book over to the East Bay and do the business. Well, we start walking down Market Street at about 10:30 a.m. On a beautiful late summer morning, and we go about a block and a half, and suddenly I feel like somebody's punched me in my left ear, and I sort of respond to it by reeling and falling over, and I see a soup can rolling past my feet, and it's dented on the sharp edge of it, and I don't know what the hell happened. And Diana's whimpering, and I'm sort of confused. Not sort of confused, I'm very confused. And I turn around, and there's a woman standing about 10 feet behind us, surrounded by a few street people, and she's brandishing, which I think is a microphone stand rod. Whoa. And she's in ninja pose, kind of baiting me, saying, come on, mother. You can fill in the rest of the phrase. My good sense takes hold of me, and I do not engage the woman, nor anybody around her. I turn around, and I grab Diana, who's holding the back of her head, sort of moaning and whimpering, and I grab her by the back of her head, and I say, let's walk in this direction. And we head down Market Street, maybe 50 feet. And she's crying, and she's saying, I've been hit, I don't know what happened. And at one point, I pull my hand away from the back of her head, and it's covered with blood. And at this point, Diana goes hysterical geometrically. She just starts wailing, piercing screams. I call 911 immediately, and I walk her to the curb. As I approach the curb with her, here comes a cop car down the street.
Lucky.
And I wave them over. The cops hop out of their car. They see that my hand's covered with blood. They want to know what happens. And an ambulance pulls up, maybe 20 seconds later.
It's a miracle.
So the ambulance guys grab Diana, try to calm her down, which is not an easy thing to do. The cops pull me aside, and in front of the ambulance driver say to me, tell us what happened. I say, well, I think this woman, the street person, threw a can of soup or vegetables and hit Diana in the back of the head. It bounced off her head, hit me in the left ear, and rolled away. The ambulance driver looks at me and says, oh, that woman just threw that can of soup at my ambulance over on Hyde Street, a block away, as I turned to come and get you. So I'm like, are you kidding me? And I described the woman, and he said, yeah, that was her. So the cops are taking all this down. Diana's quieting down, but they shuttle us to SF General, to the emergency room. Now, before we went, the cops say to me, any victim of a violent attack on the streets of San Francisco is covered by the city of San Francisco. They will pay for your medical, your psychological, any lost time at work, that sort of thing. Oh, that sounds really, really nice to me. Okay, especially under these circumstances. Well, we didn't get to see Andy Warhol. We get to SF General, and who would believe it, but within an hour, the cops had the assailant in the back of their car, just by my description and by knowing their streets. So I had to come out of the ER and ID the lady or the woman. It was a pretty scary thing having to point a finger at somebody and say, yeah, that's who did it. Now, I didn't see her actually throw the can, but the ambulance driver did see her throw a can. Right. So we put two and two together. Diana, once she was stabilized and stitched up, she didn't lose consciousness or anything like that. So it was a quick discharge. She too had to ID the woman, however, at a greater distance than I. I was actually about 12 feet away from her, and the woman was agitated, and you could tell it was there was some psychological problems affecting her or afflicting her. Well, let's get back to books, so to speak. We're shattered. We're exhausted. We're hungry because we didn't get to get lunch or breakfast yet. We clean up, i.e. Diana changes out of her bloody clothes, and we head down to the East Bay and find a great taqueria. And I get some lengua tacos, and Diana gets her fish tacos. And man, I really wanted a beer, but I had to go look at books, so I didn't want to like imbibe. But we were still pretty well shaken by the attack. We go to this lady's house. Let's call her Nancy because that's what her name was. And she welcomes us at the door. We walk in, and we're playing it straight. We're not drawing attention to ourselves or anything. And she says, well, how are you two doing today? And I go, we're fine. Sure. Yeah, we're fine. And I say to her, were you a mathematician, physicist like your husband, or an academic? And she says, no, I'm a nurse. So I jump on I take advantage of this, and I say, oh, you're a nurse? Well, let us tell you how we really are. And we update her on the morning's affair. She grabs Diana, throws her on the couch, puts her feet up, gets an ice pack, makes her tea, and totally ignores me. And I'm standing there, and she's like, oh, I have to take care of this young lady. Go look at the books. Go take care of the books. Just get out of here and get in the office. And so I go in the office, and they have nice books. Mm-hmm. Now we're driving a Ford Fiesta, which is about as roomy as a Beetle.
Yeah, VW.
But I pull out about 600 books, and Nancy says, "All right, great, get these books out of here." And I sock them into the Ford Fiesta in the trunk and the back seat, and the car, of course, is hanging low, but we fit ourselves in. We thank Nancy, and we head back north to our hotel in San Francisco. Now it's Labor Day weekend, and it's a Friday now at 6:30 p.m. So all the shippers are closed.
Yeah, you're stuck.
I'm stuck with this through Tuesday in this Ford Fiesta, but now my mood is elevated because I was coming out to San Francisco for business. It got canceled, but now luckily I've got business again, and I got 500 or 600 good books in this car. So we're driving up the 101, and I'm looking straight ahead at the city as it approaches, or as we approach the city, and I'm saying to Diana, let's go to the castle and go to the Pied Piper bar and get their gimlet, and then let's go to the International Alley and maybe have a couple of Manhattans there, and then let's go to Farallon for dinner and get some oysters and some sea bass. It's going to be a great evening. We'll go to Bix and see some live jazz. I'm ecstatic. I'm really happy. But Diana's not saying anything. So I'm just prattling on, and something happens, something clicks. I don't know. The universe sends a lightning bolt to my head, and I take the moment and I look over at Diana, who's sitting there pale and exhausted and broken, and I realize, oh, yeah, no, we're not going to do that. I say, hey, baby, how about we just go to the hotel bar and, maybe have one or two drinks and call it a day? And she kind of brightens a little bit and says, "Oh, that would be great. Would you do that, please?" So
no concussion, though, right?
No concussion, no loss of consciousness. Yeah, that's exactly what we did. We got to the hotel bar, and actually we regaled the bar help with our story. And I had a couple Manhattans to settle myself down, and she had a big pot of tea. And there ended our second day in San Francisco.
Oh, Lord.
Spent the next 3 days up in Bodega Bay with a carload of books.
Yeah.
Could barely fit the suitcase in the car. And then on Tuesday morning, offloaded it and shipped the stuff back to Cleveland. It arrived a week later, exactly as I had boxed and palletized it.
You're lucky the Fiesta's axles held up. I don't really think of the Fiesta as the great hauler of books.
Well, we're kind of doing a wheelie the whole time,
Yeah.
and we're driving amongst the redwoods, and I could tell that once Diana kind of emotionally recovered from the attack, that now she was worried about the car taking a crap.
Sure. Quite a story, Mike, out there in San Francisco. I'm glad Diana has fully recovered, I assume.
Yeah, and there was actually a little bit of irony. So we were going to see the Andy Warhol exhibit. The assailant's name, her last name is Campbell.
Yeah.
I won't tell you her first name. And she hit Diana. She attacked Diana with a can of soup.
That's irony, I guess, or coincidence. I don't know if it's I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't had a bowl of soup since then. I have a sort of a visceral negative response to the idea of soup since then.
Yeah, who knew? All right. Well, the next thing we're going to talk about today are these wonderful leather-bound books published by the Franklin Library and the Easton Press. Now, we are by no means experts regarding these publishers, but we do handle several thousand of them every year, so we know the market on them rather well. Pretty much every week.